It's official. Pack your bag. We are passing through the gate. See you on the other side.
It's a Frankenstein-like picture.
Bodies and body parts. The trial set to begin in just months. And tonight, new grisly details of what the FBI says really happened.
ABC 15's Nicole Valdez is live. And Nicole, this paints a Frankenstein-like picture.
Yeah, it really does. Katie and Steve, closed for years. This building off 24th Street, the university, doesn't look like much. But according to new claims in these court documents, the Biological Resource Center was essentially running a chop shop for human body parts, mixing, matching, and selling them in ways we've never heard of until tonight. Described as unsettling, but it sounds a whole lot worse. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility. In 2014, he saw everything from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed penises when the FBI raided the building.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good.
He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner.
It wasn't a choice we made. It wasn't a choice any of the families made.
Body parts piled on top of each other inside Biological Resource Center, where families donated their loved ones for medical research.
Discoveries of sickness and disease, maybe come up with a cure.
Some say the company violated everything they promised.
Tragedy that's never resolved. And it just keeps going on and deeper and deeper.
The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. The company sued months after the FBI raided, families claiming their loved ones weren't treated with dignity and respect, a promise written on their own consent forms. The company also accused of selling body parts for profit after saying they'd only use the parts they needed and would cremate the ones they didn't and return them. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400, a leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500.
These people are sick. The U.S. Navy retired has given us a big thumbs up. Don't think that justice is not coming. We're already seeing it playing out in the news, whether I'm allowed to say it on certain platforms or not. This is fake news. Don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you read. And be careful who you are following, and follow the people that do the research and only bring you truth. Here's a strange one. Have you heard about this weird ball floating around in Texas? This one is a bit disturbing. It's an alleged declassified paper on Project Artichoke. Can you see that highlighted part? Our taxpayer dollars paid for these type of experiments. Again, read the highlighted areas. Again, all alleged. No real proof that they're real. But interesting, nonetheless. This one's strange. The Clinton Foundation was not only involved in this ex-African, but Hillary's brother did all the money racketeering, allegedly. Let's see what this is. Feel free to pause the video if you need to be able to read it. Gee, I wonder if this here has anything to do with Minnesota. Interesting. Things that make you go, Next in the news, Secretary Kristi Noem says, performing my role as Secretary of Homeland Security has shown me just how real and dangerous the deep state really is. Elon Musk helped us find that a few DHS staff had installed spying software on the phones and computers of myself and other political hires. We found secret secured rooms with hidden files that we turned over to attorneys. Under the leadership of President Trump and the DHS government is returning to the standard of excellence and behavior we expect our government agencies to function at. We will root out bad actors who do not have the interests of America in mind. And here is her own words.
Helped me identify that some of my own employees. I can't believe what I found since I've been in this department. I just found the other day a whole room on this campus that was a secret SCIF, secure facility, that had files nobody knew existed. So we just happened to have an employee walk by a door and wonder what it was and started asking questions. We went in there. There was individuals working there that had secret files that nobody knew about on some of these most controversial topics like that. And now I've got that turned over to attorneys, and we're getting to the bottom of what exactly happened there. You know, we have CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection. They know every traveler that comes into this country, every good that comes in. They're the ones who assess and collect all of the tariffs. But the information that they had on travelers that came in during COVID, what our national labs, which I also have national labs under my jurisdiction, they're scientists that participated with that Wuhan lab, how they were traveling back and forth between each other and working on those experiments. It's been eye-opening. And I'll tell you, Patrick, even from the time I came into this office, it was, Elon and his team were extremely helpful to me. They helped me identify that some of my own employees in my department had downloaded software on my phone and my laptop to spy on me, to record our meetings.
Wow.
They had done that to several of the politicals.
Wow.
And so we ended up bringing in people. And that was something that if you didn't have those technology experts here in the department looking at all of our laptops and our phones and recognizing that kind of software, it would still be happening today. So one of the things I need to do and continue to do is partner with technology companies and experts to bring them in and help us. Because many times in government, and especially in this department, which was extremely neglected, we were just behind and not up to the standard we should be at. I remember the first 4 months, I couldn't even send a PowerPoint over email from the Department of Homeland Security servers that was longer than 6 pages long. So the backwards thinking of protecting our country was extremely detrimental to keeping us safe. And many times the deep state, I think what I tell people most of the time is, I always believed when people talked about the deep state before that it existed. I never would have dreamed that it was as bad as it is. It is. I'm still every day trying to dig out people who don't love America, that not just work at this department, but also work throughout the federal government.
Isn't that incredible? So is she saying that they found a secret room that has information on the bid? Well, that can't be right, could it? There was no foul play there, right? Man, it's getting ready to come down, y'all. The house of cards is getting ready to fall. This is not verified, but I'm with Nino. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Next in the news, looks like Elon's getting a little more involved in politics.
Fake NGOs, I think there needs to be a number of arrests in that regard as well, because these are fake charities where mostly Democrats, almost, well, I don't want to be, there's sometimes a little bit of Republican in there, because they sometimes throw the Republicans a bone to say, hey, be quiet about this. So that's where you start getting the uniparty thing going on. But it is overwhelmingly to Democrats, and they give these give billions of dollars to NGOs run by Democrats that then go through a whole network of additional NGOs. It's a giant money laundering scheme. Really, at this point, I think the word NGO and money laundering are almost synonymous.
Next in the news, we have Representative Nancy Macy introducing a new act to amend Title 18 to authorize this penalty for aggravated It will also amend the Uniform Code of Military Justice to authorize this particular penalty for that particular crime of children. There are no excuses for harming them. We spent months fighting to expose Jeffrey Epstein's network of powerful predators We've demanded accountability and pushed for transparency. Now we're making sure anyone who does this faces the ultimate consequences, because our children are the most vulnerable among us, and anyone who preys upon them deserves the harshest of penalties that our justice system can deliver. Bold claim. Very bold claim. And then, of course, there's that again. What's Hillary got to say?
I started being asked about. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet, that was serving as a basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only say that the best exchange that I had came at the very end, when, contrary to every other deposition they have taken, no Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. It then got, at the end, quite unusual.
Remember when Trump and others said, we have it all? Of course they do, because their phones were left on. And the NSA is on our side. And then there's this one, which is horrific.
Former state representative will be sentenced in February after pleading guilty to charges that include sexual exploitation of children. Stacey Lawton requested explicit photos of children from Lindsay Groves, who worked at a daycare in Tingsboro, Massachusetts. Groves pleaded guilty last month. Prosecutors say the two were dating at the time and exchanged thousands of text messages about those pictures. Lawton was elected to the New Hampshire House 3 times, but resigned twice because of separate legal problems. Former state representative will be sentenced in February after...
Always people in higher positions, isn't it? Speaking of high positions, there's this fella, CEO of the World Economic Forum, that just resigned from his position. These are quotes from Hillary Clinton on this line of questioning from the deposition she did today. And in other news, the FBI has arrested a former U.S. Air Force pilot who has been accused of training pilots for the Chinese military. Then there's breaking news about the Rothschild Group that says it will review itself after CEO Ariane de Rothschild was named in the Epstein files linked to Jeffrey Epstein. And Cindy McCain, widow of No Name McCain, is stepping down as head of the United Nations World Food Program. Interesting. Interesting series of events today. Also, Iran has rejected all of the U.S. demands in the Geneva nuclear talks, which were led by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. And then there's this fella talking about the high schools of Portland, Oregon. And I had one yesterday on the public schools of California.
That should be scary to all of us. I guess I have to believe that some level of trafficking has happened in every single hotel in Portland.
Absolutely. In every high school in Portland.
That's a hell of a statement. That is scary. That should be scary to all of us. I guess I have to believe that some level of trafficking has happened in every single hotel in Portland.
Absolutely. In every high school in Portland.
That's a hell of a statement. That is scary. That should be scary to all of us.
And that definitely deserves an investigation. Most definitely. And cheers to the woman who says that she's had no contact whatsoever with this man. Oh, who is that? The Clintons. Jay-Z. Bill Gates, Diddy, and Epstein. Well, that's odd, isn't it? Not what I expected to see. 2006. Interesting. All right, let's switch gears here a little bit. We've got some interesting things happening with the pyramid in Giza and just
That's what this new knowledge that's coming this year. I predicted that. Well, I didn't predict it. I just told what the lady told me. And this alignment about Regulus.
So when did she say that would be? When did she say that would be?
Well, she didn't tell me when it would be. What she told me, she said, pay attention. She just leaned over to me with this beautiful smile. And she said, listen, pay attention to when the star of Regulus. Now, Regulus is a blue star. It's blue. When you look at it, it's blue.
The most powerful in the sky.
Yeah. She said, when the star of Regulus appears red on the horizon and before the sun comes up in the gaze of the Sphinx. So the way she showed it to me, it was sitting right on top of the sand, a little ruby. It looked like a red ruby, right on the sand, right in front of the Sphinx, out on the horizon. Right? She said, when that happens, that will usher in or mark a new knowledge to humanity. In other words, an awakening, I guess. The same thing is happening now. So when I first talked about this, I called a friend that's associated with the Edgar Cayce Institute and some folks at NASA, and they come back and said, oh, that's going to be in September of 2026. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even know there'd be an alignment, much less it would be that soon. And so for 8 years, I talked about it on all these podcasts and until I quit talking for a while. And then I went back to talking about it. And I was saying, you can review them to September 23rd of 2026. Well, when I wrote the book in 2023, when I published it, I went back and I fact checked before I wrote it. I wanted to be sure. And so I called my friend from the Edgar Cayce place. She's associated with that. It's a literary agent that publishes astronomy books and astrologers. So she has a group of people that do the research. She came back and said, man, we made a mistake. We think it's going to be Easter. I'm like, well, she comes every year on Easter. Maybe that makes sense. So I wrote it that way, right?
So is this Easter of 26 or?
Yeah, I wrote it that way because she came back telling me that they had made a mistake. But honestly, I never really was sure about it. And now I have since the book was published, all these astronomers are calling me, professional ones and astrologers saying, we're seeing October. But what makes sense is the scientists that I'm talking to are saying that they know it'll be in the fall because the dust from the Sahara fulfills the atmosphere in October. And that's when they believe it'll turn ruby red on the horizon. So, but I don't know. I don't know. She told me, she gave me she said when it does this, right? So I don't know when that will happen, but I think the knowledge is already here.
An interesting thing here is that I too was told about watching the Sphinx. But what I was told is that when the ruby is found to place between its paws, that the Hall of Records will open. And I've recently learned that there really is a ruby stone that is supposed to be fitted in some type of a crevice or something in between the paws, some type of grooving that it fits in, which is strange. So I don't know. We'll see. In other news, the opening statement has now become a legal call to action in a move that has shaken the globalists. John N. Kennedy has officially called for the prosecution of billionaire Bill Gates for $1.3 billion in fraud. The former prosecutor and legendary judge showed no mercy, alleging that the global healthcare mogul deliberately profited from a failed COVID treatment while possessing evidence that it would never work as promised. Quote, "This is just a business failure. This is a criminal fraud against the American people." End of quote, Kennedy declared vehemently in his latest broadcast. While families are suffering and small businesses are closing, the elite are enriching themselves with a solution they know is nothing more than an empty shell. It's time for a final verdict, says Kennedy. Also in the news, former Dutch banker and whistleblower Ronald Bernard's testimony has sent shockwaves through the financial world. Speaking candidly about his experiences, Bernard revealed how he was invited into a world of power and influence where sacrifice was made for the elite's gain. His breaking point came when he was asked to participate in rituals involving blank, an action he could not and would not support. The emotional toll this request had on Bernard was immense, as he described his internal breakdown upon realizing the depths of the corruption and immortality within the system. Bernard's testimony sheds light on the darker side of global finance and the networks of elite benefactors that some claim control the world behind closed doors. His revelations add to a growing body of evidence suggesting that those in positions of power may be involved in activities far beyond what the public can imagine. While many have dismissed these claims as conspiracy theories, Bernard's firsthand account provides a chilling perspective on what happens behind the curtain of wealth and influence. His story is a painful reminder of the ethical dilemmas faced by those who enter the world of high finance. For Bernard, the line between financial success and moral compromise became too blurred, and he chose to walk away from a system that demanded unspeakable sacrifices from him. His courage in speaking out against such corruption serves as a warning to others who may find themselves in similar situations. Money and power can come at a high price. The emotional weight of Bernard's testimony reflects the internal conflict that many whistleblowers face. While his courage is commendable, it also underscores the difficulty of challenging systems that have been in place for generations. His journey from financial insider to whistleblower is one of personal redemption, but also a call for wider systemic change. It's a reminder that no matter how high someone rises, they must always confront their moral compass. As the world continues to wrestle with issues of transparency, corruption, and corporate responsibility, Bernard's testimony serves as a stark reminder of how deeply these issues run in the highest echelons of society. His brave decision to expose the truth is not just a personal victory, but a larger cry for great change upon our world. And now I'll just like to share a few headlines with you. I'll let you look over those. Brian Stanley Sack, a pediatric urologist at the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Toledo. Then we have testimony from Allison Carey, the sister of Mariah Carey, who gave testimony in a New York Supreme Court, alleging their mother, Patricia Carey, forced her into a cult. Then there's James Gosnell Jr., who's been charged with 6 federal counts of possessing, reportedly involving hundreds of videos and images of people. There's not a word for them. Then there's this guy. John Evans was his alias. Former North Dakota State Senator Ray Holmberg, a Republican. Looks like a lot of them are tied to this, huh? Peter Mendelsohn. Also known as Peter Attia. Doctor and wellness guru, former UK ambassador to the US, arrested earlier today. Oh, this is CBS's Peter Attia, who has stepped back. And then also another man named Peter Mendelsohn. I stand corrected. Okay. Lost their hearts. Bless their hearts. Michael Jackson. In another ongoing Epstein case, to uncover unexpected layers, revealing new details that keep drawing public attention. Recently surfaced files introduced fresh claims suggesting that Michael Jackson may have not been merely another high-profile visitor to Epstein's circle. According to these reports, Jackson allegedly attempted to protect vulnerable girls and women from any type of abuse while quietly observing the environment around him. Some accounts even suggest that he may have acted as a silent witness, discreetly gathering information during his time in Epstein's presence. While these claims remain highly controversial and are the subject of intense debate among investigators, journalists, and the public, they have once again reignited discussions about the extent and complexity of Epstein's network. This renewed scrutiny has placed both Jackson's role and the broader issue of accountability within Epstein's inner circle back into the spotlight. Was he a secret agent on the island? What do you think about that? Put it in the comments. I want to know. And that is all in today's news, because I can't find the article that I wanted to share with you that Donald Trump put out earlier today, saying that the pyramids of Giza don't belong to the Egyptians, that they belong to a much older, ancient, intelligent civilization that was found worldwide and that we now have evidence of. So this is very interesting also, and I want to see where that goes, where that takes us. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again soon.